Cowboy Nation. Really appreciate everybody for tuning in. I know a lot of people want to punch the panic button and they'll sit back and say, well, this person is injured. This person has not been able to do this. We don't have that. We don't have this. It's part of NFL. It's the middle of the week. The injury report is out, these sorts of things. But do not fret. Football is meant to be like that. And on top of that, I got my notes here. When we think about everything, Cowboy Nation, let's just do this. Take it one day at a time, one movement at a time, brick by brick. I know you guys heard the stories in the news. Trayvon Diggs, he didn't practice today. Practice, we talking about practice, right? He didn't practice today due to a shoulder injury. Now, he plays cornerback, meaning that he's not going to use that shoulder that much. And on top of that, you use your legs more so than anything. Nevertheless, it's precautionary. You want to be able to really look at everything and say, hey, let's not force it. Let's get that thing to be secured and these sorts of things, and we'll test it back out. Not saying that he's going to play, not saying that he's not going to play, but we will test it back out Friday probably. It just depends on how they orchestrate everything on their end. And I do know that Chidobe Awuzie is out as well. So those two cornerbacks, one can argue and say, well, Lord, those are your starting corners that's out right now. Next man up, and I know we heard that storyline for a long time, right? You would never know what you got until it's time for that person to go out there on the field. So this is when you utilize your resources, making sure that the next man is available to play. Now, on one end, one can argue and say, well, there's been tons of people saying that, hey, let's get rid of Chidobe Awuzie. Now you finna figure that out now, right? And there have been a few people that say, hey, he's a rookie as far as Diggs. So it's like a hit and miss right there with that type of situation. He's a young guy. I'm thinking that maybe around Friday or Saturday, he'll say, hey, coach, call me up. I'm ready to play, basically. And he just got to figure out how to tackle. Yeah, that's going to be the major thing. And can he lift his arm above his head and these sorts of things. So we'll figure that out and we'll cross that bridge when it's time, right? But right now, do not jump off the bridge, Cowboy Nation. It's all good. It is flat out all good. I understand that some people will look at it and say to themselves, man, this team is plagued with injuries. Lyle Collins, he's out of shape. He's not showing up. Oh, Anthony Get Down Brown, man, he's injured or what have you with the rib situation, I believe, right? And Tyron Smith, his neck. Oh, my goodness, LVE. Hey, this team is crashing and burning. This team is doing this and this team is doing that as it relates to health-wise. That's the craziest thing, right? But this is what it's all about. In war, there's many battles. And we're going to be facing a team that's battle-tested as well. They have their warts. They just had a guy to go down with an ACL, Bruce Irvin. He's gone for the entire year, right? Or we can talk about our McCoy, because we would love to see McCoy in the inside, but he's gone for us. And then self-inflicted wounds with the Roger Goodell by not reinstating our guy, Randy Gregory. So we would have to wait until what, next month at the latter part of that to see what he can do out there on the field. But speaking of defensive ends, Everson Griffen said, yeah, I'm practicing on the three-point stand. I got the green light to do that. That's what I'm comfortable of doing, shooting off the line with the three-point stand. I was telling a lot of people, don't panic, don't count this defense out. They're trying new things. They're building the plane while it's in the air. The good thing is that half of the NFL is doing the exact same thing. They're building the plane while it's in the air. They are. That's just the reality of it. So what we're doing here, Cowboy Nation, is that I really believe that Everson Griffen, hey, he's going to get back comfortable. Remember what I said on my previous video. He's normally playing on the opposite side. They kicked him over there on the left side now. So normally he'll go against the left tackle. Now he's going against the right tackle. It's just like switching your world all the way around. Although he can do it, it's just a different level of comfort. Now, Aldon Smith, he's our sack leader right now, or tied for the sack leader against Everson Griffen. But he's our leading pressure guy. He owns that side until he start not showing up and not being there or not doing his assignment. Then I think that there will always be a rotation. And trust me, there's never a team that can say, well, I got too many pass rushing guys. You know, you want to be able to get to the quarterback. And on the flip side, with your front five, as it relates to the offensive line, you want to protect your quarterback. So it's just like one of those flows in life, flows with football. So don't panic, Cowboy Nation. We okay. Defense, we trying to really figure this thing out. Remember what I said, normally in a defensive mind or a defensive situation, it takes time. It does. I wish I can paint a picture differently, but that's just how it goes. If you want to pat yourself on the back for the Giants or what have you, remember in 2007, I think it was 2011, both of those years, they're talking about, hey, fire the coach. Whatever the years that they won the Super Bowl, I know it was 07 for one of them. It was like midway through the season, fire the coach, fire the coach. If you think I'm lying, Google the coaching during that time frame. For those who can remember, they was talking about firing that coach. But the defense got hot towards the latter part of the year. And that is when you really want to get hot, towards the latter part, when everybody's on the same page. And all it takes is one victory over somebody that you feel like opponent worthy, or one thing that you can pick up and say, man, as the safety look. And on top of that, I'm looking at it like this. The extra DBs that we have out there on the field now that normally won't get those reps, guess what? Newsflash, they're getting good reps now, right? Good opportunity if Chidobe Awuzie is not playing. So now we can see our dog Jourdan Lewis saying, okay, you're going to be on the outside this game. Let's see if you can earn your grain of salt. We're going to call Worley, put him back inside, or we're going to flex Worley to the outside corner. Reggie Robinson, you ready? Are you ready? Let's get ready to rumble, basically. And he's going to have to rumble. And on the flip side, think about this. Even with this offense, the power weapons that we have on the offensive side of the ball. I recall a team that made it to the playoff last year, and they was down by 24 points. 24, I believe, to 0. But the offense was so high and powered with so many weapons, and they had a crazy dynamic quarterback. You guys can probably point out the quarterback from here, from this conversation. They always knew that they had a chance. But that wasn't the first game that they came back from. There was another game during the course of that season that they came back from. You see, now that builds all type of trust. You guys can Google and find the game that they came back from, you see. So I believe that this team is figuring things out. They're looking at it like, hey, I'm not going to say a team, okay, we're going to spot you 24 points or give you 30. But now this team knows, and they're learning, even on the offensive side, what they can and can't do and what are their strengths, and they're getting stronger. Believe it or not, like Ripley's, right? So as soon as La'el Collins get his big butt back in there in that lineup and these sorts of things, we can really say, okay, yeah. And I love what Brandon Knight was able to do. Think about this. If Tyron Smith's neck was never hurt, then 9 times out of 10, we would never know from a fan perspective what Brandon Knight can do outside of big game. Jay is my dog. He was like, yeah, Brandon Knight. And Brian Broaders. Shout out to those two right there. So football is a land of opportunities, a land of chances, right? We can go all the way back into the historics. We can talk about quarterbacks who stepped up when chaos was all around them. We can talk about when the running back stepped up when chaos was all around them, got their positions and never looked back. Because they say, if I look back, I'll turn into a pillar of salt. I'm going to take this thing and run with it, baby. And you're going to have to pull me out of the grave before you can get your position back. That is the mentality that I want this team to have, and not that defeative mentality like some of the fans around here. Not calling you guys, man. We all have that battle-tested warriors mentality, meaning that, hey, we get knocked down today. We're going to try to land on our back. We're going to look up, and we're going to get up and be ready to fight tomorrow. We may be down for a second, Cowboy Nation, but we right back rolling strong with them. And all of the fans that have been rocking with us, rolling with us, never wavered, never shifted their thoughts, even in the midst of the 25 years we've been on this drought, boy, just think about how good and how pleasant it will be when we get up there and we get back on this thing of winning those Super Bowls. Just think about how good it is. And you can just sit there boldly and strongly and say, man,